Flipping it over, and we are going.
We are live,
Welcome,
live,
welcome.
baby.
Happy Tuesday,
Happy Tuesday. Happy Victory Tuesday.
Victory Tuesday, the most important kind of Tuesday.
Exactly.
Because
Could have
not
been worse.
only,
Could have,
yeah,
1 point a game, 1 point away from sore loser Monday or Tuesday, I guess.
man, I don't know if I would have had the emotional capacity to do a podcast today if we had lost by 1 point. It would have been
Oh, that would
a
have been
tough
rough.
one.
That would have been rough.
And it's just
Okay.
just the two of us today, no hung. She's off watching one of the kids' makeup football games. Something I'm sure you don't run into much in Dallas, and we certainly don't run into here. Makeup games because of wildfires.
No, can't say that's ever been a reason. Oh,
I'm,
that's definitely a Southwest thing.
right. Glad we don't have to deal with that. That and hurricanes, man. Those are like two natural disasters I don't want a piece of ever.
Whew, boy, it is rough out there.
Keep me
It
away
is
from
rough out there
keep me away from that. But, you know,
in Florida. I mean, shout out to everybody if you're listening from Florida. Sorry, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, that was definitely a crazy situation. They gotta deal with those a lot, man. It would be hard for me to live out there. Like it's like yeah, you get beautiful sunshine, but you get hurricanes and then people trying to eat your face off. So it's like,
right. I'm not sure which one would terrify me more. I mean, yeah, it's
yeah,
just man, that's going to be the next Sharknado, right? Instead of Sharknado, it'll just be
right,
meth heads in a hurricane. Be awesome.
exactly.
All right.
I don't know if I want. I don't know if the beach is a worthy trade-off for that.
No,
So yeah.
I'll go down for a week. Be happy with that, and then come back home where I don't have to worry about
Go away, get some sun, hang out on South Beach for a little bit, and then dip.
it. See you later. Y'all
Yeah,
have fun. Oh man.
exactly.
Well, hey, week 5 is in the books now. We're moving through the season. It seems, I don't know about you, it seems to be going a little fast for me compared to prior years. It's going at a good clip. I think I like that.
Is it going faster? I don't know if it's going faster, but it has been exciting. It has been exciting. We still got quite a bit of games left. I guess what makes it kind of feel a little bit faster is like it's already bye weeks are starting up
Yeah,
across the league this week, so that's interesting. Fantasy players, make sure you want to check the waiver wire, get your picks up before you don't have anybody for Thursday.
this is what separates the men from the boys, the proverbial men from the boys when it comes to fantasy, I feel. Playing the
Exactly.
playing the waivers, making sure you don't have anyone on bye week.
Yeah.
Really hurts my feelings that I had to play my mom last night and just get absolutely destroyed. I know we'll talk about that, but now I'll be getting phone calls from her about bye weeks, and I don't know if I'll pick up. I might just might ignore it.
Your tweet was hilarious. I was like, I wanted to be like, is this child abuse? But he's like a grown ass man, so I don't know if it counts as that.
Can you submit this
I don't know
to?
if we can count it. Yeah,
Man, there's got to be something protective. But yeah, I know we'll be covering all of that. I think what first and foremost we got to talk about our own game. You know what? I just realized I asked if the slides were good, and then I realized I left the Bucks up there instead of making it the Raiders. So apparently
it says
Chiefs
Raiders. What I'm looking at, it says
is it?
Raiders.
No, no.
Yeah, I'm looking at our YouTube page.
Oh, I wonder if it's just the headliner here. It's showing Bucks for me. So apparently we beat the Bucks 30-29 last night, according to what I'm seeing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, it just
Up
switched for me. I
top.
see. Okay,
I
we're
just
professionals here, people. I promise.
professionals.
Yeah,
Tons of peer review goes on to make sure the quality assurance is in check with these slides
exactly.
that we go through.
So
Uh,
much.
Now Chiefs 30, Raiders 29. What are the initial thoughts on the game?
So, as a fan, just a fan of the game, just like from a pure spectacle. This was a classic Monday Night Football game. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be
Mm.
memorable for a long time, and probably one of. I'm sure there's some list somewhere of like top 10, top 20 Monday Night Football games. I would say this probably belongs on that list, man. It was exciting. You had division rivals. You have one of the biggest rising star. I don't even say rising star. He is a star in this game. And you know, a couple, I'd say future Hall of Famers going back and forth against each other. No, I'm not talking about Derek Carr. Yes, I'm already putting Devante Adams in that category. Yes, I'm already putting Travis Kelsey in that category. Josh Jacobs' ball. It was exciting. You had the stars come out and play. Um, under the Arrowhead was rocking. Uh, Memorable, I would say. If you were there, I'm sure that was an amazing game. My friend was there. I had a buddy out there. He said his Apple Watch said, or his Whoop or whatever said, it looked like he did a workout.
Oh
Like it
man,
tracked the workout for him. Like he was like, because his heart rate was so high.
count it.
You
You
know,
know what? That
I was
counts. That counts.
right. I was like, but did you die? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we got the win. So, it's always fun. We got the win. It's, if we, we'd be feeling a little bit different today if we had lost. All that being said, there was a lot of mistakes on our team, from their team, and from the officials. And I think there was a lot of sloppy moments in the game that, maybe when you look back at it, you won't really think about as much because the outcome, but they were there, and it is stuff to look for heading into the rest of the season. So,
It,
what about you?
it's a problem every sport's going to have. It doesn't matter what the sport is, what's going on, how competitive it is. Officials are going to do something that'll impact the game. I think that though without a doubt is the most frustrating element of this game in hindsight is how much impact the refs genuinely had on everything. Now I'll always say, like, at the end of the day, it's your team that wins or loses. There's no other factors that come into play that dictate the actual outcome of a game, because it shouldn't be like just one strip sack, or it shouldn't just be one jawing off to the other team's quarterback, or whatever that is the culmination that causes your team to fail, right? Like, so like with Indianapolis, I know a lot of people threw shade at Chris Jones, um, saying that, you know what? Hold on, sorry, my stuff is freezing up big time on the stream here. Give me 1 second to fix it.
No worries, no worries.
See if that cleans it up a little bit. I am not sure what's happening. So after the Indy game, a lot of people gave flack to Chris Jones, saying that he's he caused a lot of the loss. If he hadn't have done the smack talking that he did, they wouldn't have had that game-winning drive to knock us out and give us our only loss on the season. I think people forget that there was an entire 55 minutes preceding that penalty of his, where the Chiefs could have blown this poor Indianapolis Colts team out of the water. And same thing with, like last night, like everyone's piling onto the refs about, this call against Chris Jones, and, how in the world is that roughing the passer? And while I fully agree, that's a classic case of a ref making a huge mistake that does have an impact. If people were to blame a lot, if we had lost, if people were to blame it solely on that, I think they just fail to realize there is another 55 minutes of football where we could have blown out the Raiders.
Mhm.
And we have a team that's very capable of not just blowing out the Raiders, but also blowing out the Colts, blowing out anyone else. And there's just multiple failures that happen throughout a game that really culminate in such a close game or even a loss, that I hate blaming it on these just one things. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
that being said, t- are these the replacement refs? Did they come back? Are we in this parallel fantasy world where the strike never ends of the NFL refs, and we're playing with high school level officiating out there? Like, the big obvious call is the Chris Jones one. I don't think there's a single person in the world outside of that reffing squad who would say that was roughing the passer, and that's what it seems to be on like Twitter, on like everything I've seen news wise on like ESPN and NFL.com and everything like that. Um, I don't know what these people were thinking. Um, I think there were a lot of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah,
I think there were a lot of, and we saw this a lot with the replacement refs, or at least this is what my memory is saying. We saw a lot of bad PDI calls too, pass interference calls. Um, that I feel like, there's multiple things that criteria that have to be met for it to be defensive pass interference or even offensive pass interference. And a lot of the flags that got thrown on both sides of the ball, I'm not saying it was only us, getting cheated here. It was without a doubt a whole bunch of just bad refing choices that I feel were made that had significant impact on this game.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I don't think they're. I think that this is a veteran crew that was officiating. I was trying to find um the team name, but these are guys who've been there before. And yeah, it was just so wild. I've seen people who were doing like side by sides of the um. So they call the roughing the passer on Chris Jones, right? Mahomes gets tackled or gets sacked in a similar fashion, and they actually put it head to head with the Brady sack from Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it's almost the same tackle, like literally almost the same tackle, but they don't call it for the Mahomes. So it's just like, okay, so which is it? Like one, it's like, I mean, to me, it's a sack. Like all three of them, like whether it's Brady, Carr, or Mahomes, he got sacked. Like it's not a roughing the passer. They got sacked. Like these guys got to be allowed to play the game, you know. But
I
yeah, they
think
were just
uh,
no. I was just saying it was just no. There's no consistency,
that
especially since the Tua injury is what most people are saying is the reason for this right now.
hmm um there was a release given to the press pool after the game last night where the ref was defending the decision. He said the main reason he made the call, and I don't know if you've seen this or not, the main reason he made the call is because Chris Jones's full body weight fell onto Derek Carr without Carr being able to protect himself. So like he was in a, I think the
Right.
exact word they used was passing posture. He was in a passing
Yeah.
posture, which means he couldn't defend himself, and then Chris Jones' entire body weight fell on top of him. So when are you supposed to sack a quarterback? If that's
Yeah.
if that's the criteria,
Right. Right.
um,
No, I did see that, and I'm like, no, it's called physics. That's what you know what I'm saying?
I,
Like that's what that was.
there are definitely clear cases of a roughing the passer situation where the ball is well out of the quarterback's hands. A player has an opportunity to avoid hitting the quarterback after the ball has left their hands, and then they just pile drive them into the ground. Great. Let's have that
Hmm.
penalty. Those guys deserve that kind of protection. This just is aggressive. To your point, one of my friends was texting me last night, is talking about he was watching the Baltimore game, and during the Baltimore game, they were talking about how defenses are treated differently and these were the commentators of pocket passers versus mobile quarterbacks, and how it's just like
Interesting.
yeah, I'm sure there's somebody out there crunching the actual numbers and whatever, but at the very least, there's this feel that the players like Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, those kind of scrambling quarterbacks who make plays on their feet. If it had been one of them getting hit by Chris Jones there, 100% a fumble, 100% recovered by the Chiefs, and the ball's turned around. Versus if it had been, like a Peyton Manning, a Tom Brady, or a Derek Carr, because they're a pocket passer and that's what they're known for, uh, it becomes a roughing the passer kind of thing. I mean I don't know if you agree with this or not, but thinking back on it, it really does feel like pocket passers are protected a little bit better than those kind of mobile guys who are able to make moves and willing to scramble and lead their team in rushing yards and that kind of thing. If you know
Yeah.
if they're beyond the line of scrimmage, fine. Stop protect them unless they, go for a slide. Then at that point they're protected. I fully agree. If they start acting like a running back, tackle them like a running back. Fine by me. But if you're going to be given the kind of protections to Tom Brady because he's passing in the pocket, you need to give those same protections to somebody who's not passing in the pocket.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah. That's a really good observation there because yeah, it's like you're that would explain, like I said, like Mahomes took a very similar hit to Brady last night, and there was no flag on that. Um, yeah, the guys you expect to run, move around. Uh, yeah, they don't tackle them. They tackle them. They don't get the same calls, but guys like Brady, yeah, they definitely. Well, Brady gets all the calls, but
He gets,
yeah, the pocket passer. That's a
uh-huh.
good observation. I hadn't noticed that, or like I've noticed it, but when somebody puts that into words, it's like yeah, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's like you
Uh-huh.
drop the mug in the movie or whatever.
No, absolutely.
like,
And I
oh my
think
god,
it's taken to that next level for me too because it was commentators on a game saying this versus, just your friends sitting in a garage complaining about your quarterback getting hit more than other quarterbacks, right? Like, these are
right?
professionals paid millions to observe these games making that same observation. Um, Everyone's calling for like a rule change on this, whatever. I don't think a rule change is going to help because at the end of the day, it is a subjective call. You get 32 refs in there, and 16 of them are going to call it roughing the passer, 16 of them are going to call it a strip sack. You just don't know what you're going to end up with. And there's
Yeah,
been I know like a lot of complaints people submit about football specifically. I know the NBA kind of has this issue, MLB has this issue, is that play review, like video review, really slows down the game, kills the game, makes it hard to watch because you end up spending 5-10 minutes sitting there just watching people stand around discussing a rule. There needs to be something in place for these kind of penalties, though, I feel, especially when they can have such huge game impact. I don't know. I mean, any thoughts on that?
I just don't know what would be a practical like fix for that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like people talking about for a rule change. I don't know if there should be a rule change. That would just be too hard to really
I agree.
make one that would like
Uh,
satisfy everyone. But I don't know. It's just like sometimes when it's like just that obvious, maybe the eye in the sky has a little bit like some kind of veto
hmm.
override thing for the guys on the field. I don't know if that exists already, but maybe something like that. The people who can replay the tape over and over again versus the people on the field. Maybe they can just like call down and be like, "Hey, you have to overturn this." Like veto it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think one way to look at it in a different light is if they had called it originally a strip sack, and then now turnovers are reviewed. Every single turnover is reviewed. I believe, right? I'm not just making that up. It sounds right.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so if they had called it that and then gone into the review booth and reversed the call and thrown a flag, because that scenario potentially exists, I think the reverse also has to exist where, okay, yes, we're calling roughing the passer off the rip, but we need to go ahead and go in there and review it and see if the fact that there was a potential, strip sack and that the Chiefs now have the ball, that needs to be a reviewable thing. And I think that's the only rule change you could really make there.
Yeah, yeah. It couldn't be anything too intensive. So yeah, that's probably it. But yeah, that's a shame.
Hey, I mean, we won, so how much?
We did win. Yeah,
we
we did
spent
win.
we spent a chunk of time talking about it, but how much can we complain, really?
At least, yeah, I was gonna say at least on the history of bogus calls that we have gotten as a franchise, especially since Mahomes is down there. At least this one worked out in our favor at the end of the day. So,
Absolutely. I think the thing though that we kind of skipped right on by that we have to talk about. Can we talk about this being the most Raider way to lose a game
oh my
imaginable?
God, oh
I
my goodness,
I think I about like tore something in my side laughing so hard at it. Um,
clowns, man. And these are good players, man. Hunter Renfro and Devante Adams. These guys are legit. Like we like to trash on the Raiders, but these are solid dudes. And like that was some rookie stuff at the end there, man. Like that was some
right.
bush league, man. I'm like, God damn, you run into your own player
And trip him up. Yeah, and it's just
in the
like,
most
oh man.
important play of the game. Yeah,
because I felt like they pretty much had our DBs beat. Like I think if either of them had caught that ball, that's a game over.
They're beating our DBs all night.
Right.
They were
Um,
killing
man, they were slaying it. Yeah, absolutely. Ah, man.
them.
But thankfully the Raiders will Raider, and yay, we walked away.
It was the very Raiders ending, and to top it off with some violence at the end, Devante
Ooh,
Adams, who
yeah.
I like as a player, I really do. But bro, you can't take it out on the cameraman
When he said it
because
was
you took
like,
the L.
what was it that he said about it? It was like, I bumped into him or something. Like he described it as if he like accidentally ran into the guy, and that's what knocked him over. I think we've all seen the tape, man. That ain't no accident. Like you physically shoved him out of the way. It
Yeah.
was, oh,
I
come
mean,
on.
he did. I mean, so he did apologize. He sent out a tweet that said, "Sorry to the guy I pushed over after the game. I obviously very frustrated at the end of the game, and when he ran in front of me as I exited, I that was my reaction, and I felt horribly immediately. That's not me. My apologies, man. Hope you see this." But why do they always go to Twitter to apologize? You were right there. You could have helped them up or something. You lost your cool right there. You could have been like, "Yo, first of all, you shouldn't have done it, right?" But even you feel bad, right? You said, "I immediately feel terrible." So why don't you keep walking? Why not come back to the guy, try to help him up, or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't buy that. I don't really. I mean, I'm sure he feels bad, but I'm like, I don't think he feels that bad. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think it's just like what we were talking about over the summer, where it's he feels bad for being caught doing it. He doesn't feel bad for
Right,
doing it, and
right.
I mean I don't want to wish that on Adams, like you say. He's a fantastic player. He's fun to watch, even when he is playing against the Chiefs. Um,
He was balling. He was balling.
it's man, it's like come on, just own it. It's like no, I let my frustration get the better of me. I'm sorry now. I respect that kind of reply more. Um,
Right.
what can you do? He was torching us all night though. Like what he did to that cameraman, he was doing to our defense. What was it? He had one 48-yard touchdown, another that was like 58, 59 yards. Man,
They were man. Just from as a pure football fan, those were some nice crap. He was making like Carr look like vintage Brady with
uh-huh,
with some of those plays. Not this year, not 2022 Brady, but
right.
like 2016 Falcons versus the Falcons Super Bowl Brady. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Man, it was great seeing it. It was fun watching it. And I'm glad the Raiders lost, but how they're losing with Devante Adams doing that kind of stuff is it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I know a lot of the issues they were having early on in the season is it seems like Josh Jacobs wasn't awake at all. He's awake now. I know because
Yeah, he
last
did well
week,
last night.
yeah, I know last week he torched me in fantasy. This week I was watching him live and I mean, he was making some plays. But if I'm giving a game ball to anyone on the Raiders for best player on the losing team, Mason Crosby, dude.
Yeah,
What? I mean, we have one of the best offensive lines in football right now, if not the best offensive line, and he made us look like high schoolers. Like he was in
and he
Mahomes'
was.
face almost every other play, it seemed.
You blink, he's already in the backfield.
Yeah, and he
Like
didn't have a single offsides call against him at all the entire game, and I kept waiting for it because I'm like, how does he get back there so fast?
absolutely. Yeah, he was
Insane.
just moving. Dude was just moving around.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Kelsey. 4 TDs. I believe
Career
if
game.
I remember hearing correctly, that's a Monday Night Football record, having 4 TDs in one game. Um,
I mean, it's a career record for him, right? He's never had four
I think that
TDs in a
was,
game.
yeah,
Good
I
stuff,
think
yeah.
that was a career game for him too. And
Career
to do it on his
game, and then
mom's
Monday.
birthday.
Oh, I didn't know
It
that.
was his mom's birthday, yeah.
Maybe now he'll be the favorite. He's for if you don't know, the Kelsey brothers have a podcast, and they were debating on who their mom would rather win the Super Bowl this year. and she basically said Jason. Right. It was because of his granddaughter, her granddaughter.
She got
So
a
Kelsey,
granddaughter.
yeah, yeah, Kelsey doesn't have kids, but it was just funny. Like they were just like arguing back and forth on that. So like it all in good fun. But
Oh
yeah, it was
yeah,
just funny. Like right now, Jason's the favorite. So maybe he
man.
won some brownie points back after
Right.
that last
Get
night.
her one of those game balls. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Uh, the worst part was I was playing against him in fantasy in both my leagues this week. So,
yeah,
we'll talk about that in a second. But my gosh, I
yeah.
was
I
like,
had
can you
him
please throw to anyone but Kelsey in the freaking end zone?
right. Like, bro, you good? Like
You've gotten your 2 touchdowns. Let's calm
yeah,
down.
yeah. No, what was I gonna say? Um, I had him. I'm in 6 leagues, right?
Hmm.
Half of them I have Kelsey. The other half I have Darren Waller. So they both destroyed me either by playing too well or not playing at all.
Right. Oh man. That's
Yeah,
that's
so
the way it is, right? Hopefully
right.
Darren Waller's feeling better. I believe what took him out was an illness. If I'm recalling that correctly, like he had suited up.
Hamstring.
Oh, was it hamstring? Okay.
It was a
Who
hamstring, yeah.
who is someone was illness then? I can't remember. Um,
I'm sure the Raiders fans are very ill this morning.
uh-huh. Um, Matthew Wright. I mean,
Drop them.
better than Amendola, but
Drop.
yeah.
How
I mean,
how I don't understand. Okay, like okay. Obviously I can't kick. I'm not an NFL kicker or whatever. But even as like guys who are getting drafted, like free agents, right? I mean, that's what you're hired to do. This is the only thing you do. And on some of these like chip shots, bro, how do you miss those
what
kicks?
the
Like I
one he
don't
missed was like what, 38 yards?
38 yards. Yes.
Give me 10 attempts and I'll make 3 of them probably. Maybe. I mean,
Right.
and if I can do that, how are these professionals not doing it 10 out of 10 times?
Right. It
Right?
wasn't no 60 yard or anything like
Right.
anything crazy. It's one of their it's like a mid range if you're a basketball player. Like that's a chip
Yeah,
shot for you, man.
absolutely.
Like you're
It's
supposed to you're supposed to have that.
it just helps me further my campaign about banning kickers though, thankfully. So I love that. Like I want them gone, and this is a perfect example of this. Like we have one little injury to one player on our team in Butker in the first week of the season, and I mean we lost a game because our kicker couldn't convert anything, and we almost lost another one last night because you know kicker couldn't hit anything, and it's so frustrating that these people are paid 6 to 7 figures to show up for 10% of the game and can keep their job when they miss 50% of their job. It's
Right.
I mean, like, I got a feel for every single other player on the team because there's 52 people on a roster, is that right? On a game day roster, 52, 58, something like that.
Right.
And all those guys have to rely on one dude who shows up to do one job, and if he misses one kick, they get a loss on their record. Despite the fact that these other, 51 individuals who are suited up played their hearts out. They have to depend on one guy. Like a kicker becomes almost more important than a quarterback. You know, um,
Right.
it's just it's something. At some point I'm going to put together a dissertation and steal 2 hours of the podcast time in the off season and just break down exactly why a kicker needs to go away because it's just so frustrating that yeah, when Butker's in the game, and even he had some missteps last year, right? But when he's in the game, we're fine. You can go up and get a drink, when it's in his hands to convert a kick because we know it's going to happen. But he tweaks his ankle a little bit, can't play on his foot, so now we have to like just troll through the dredges of free agency, hoping we find some ex soccer player who can, put something through the uprights. It's to me, as a fan, it's just angering beyond belief that we have to depend on, one individual to help us secure a win, and they can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I don't have the same problem as you do with kickers. I think it makes for some interesting
Wait,
moments.
you have your emotions under control and can comprehend the fact.
But I would say you were making some points last night and you made some points today. I'm like, I don't know, man. I kind of see what Ben's talking about. He's kind of making,
Doing
he's
it.
kind of talking some sense right now.
I'm converting people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was rough, and that's what I don't know if you want to go ahead and move on to the 2 point attempt. The reason they tried that is because they didn't trust him.
didn't trust
That's
him.
the reason they didn't trust him. Like it's like because obviously you go for one right there. Like
Hmm.
if you go for one, they still got to put up two scores on you. You know what I'm saying to
Uh-huh.
get back in the game. But they didn't think that he was gonna. They felt more confident about being able to get the 2 point conversion than they did about the extra point. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that says a lot about the how they felt about their confidence in the kicker. You know what I mean?
Well, and I want to go back a little bit because I can't even remember when this was. I think it was like 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. When Ryan Succop was our kicker, and
Mm-hmm.
he also got injured. I can't remember if it was in an actual game or just in practice or whatever happened. But it was in the middle of the season, and it used to be, at least, that the talent pool was deep enough that okay, Suckup's injured, he's not going to play for the rest of the year. We're not going to keep him on the roster, because we don't need to. We're going to cut him. He still had a chance of coming back. He was a good enough kicker, but we're going to cut him and pick up Cairo Santos. And Santos is going to come in and
Mm-hmm.
just, carry us the rest of the year. And that's how it used to be. If your kicker got injured, you kicked him off the roster because they were dead weight at that point, and then you just went to your next guy up. But the talent pool is so shallow when it comes to free agent kickers right now that we're keeping Butker on the roster, hoping that he comes through. And I fully understand that Butker is a generational talent almost when it does come to kicking. So maybe you keep him on the roster no matter what. Uh, but there's an entire possibility we don't see him the rest of the year because it seems like he did more than just sprain his ankle if he's still not able to play. Um, I'm sure we could dig up a more comprehensive injury report on him, but I feel like if it was 10 years ago, Butker's off the roster. And we just have a new guy in. That's just our guy, and we can't do that. We're already on our third kicker of the season. If you're not even counting Justin Reed, um,
Yeah.
it's just insane. So yeah, to have to go for a 2 point attempt. Both teams had a failed attempt. What do you think about the Raiders' attempt at a 2 pointer at the end of the game? Smart or ambitious?
It's one of those plays. Like I almost I didn't tweet it out, but I was going to. I was going to say something along the line. It's basically every time the Raiders play us, this is their Super Bowl. So they're gonna play aggressive every time. They're gonna go for it on fourth down. 4th and 1. They're gonna go for it every time. I was
Mm-hmm.
surprised when they actually ended up hunting on one of those. But usually they're gonna whatever the aggressive play is, the 2 point conversion, yeah, they're gonna try for it. So that didn't surprise me too much. This is how they play us. This is how the Chargers play us too.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially
So
with how relatively easy they seem to be torching us on things like those, short third downs and those short fourth downs and stuff. That it seemed like they were converting almost every single one.
yeah,
I couldn't blame them for going for it at all. So when McDaniels came out later, says no regrets about it, and I'm props to him because I don't think they should regret it um, at all. If they had converted that, that means it puts the pressure on the Chiefs to then get the ball and score. And of course, we were having such a tough time with that. It seemed that it very easily could have ended the game Raiders 31, Chiefs 30. So good on them for doing it. I'm still surprised they didn't get it in at all. I thought for sure they would. I love it, and this is another part of my whole campaign with get rid of kickers, right? Is because seeing those 2 point attempts is fun. It makes it a lot more interesting too
that's
in the
true.
game. Um, so
That is true.
it made it a lot of fun. It's we had their attempts compared to our attempts was significantly better too. It seems like they knew what they were doing, whereas we didn't even block any of their pass rushers, and Mahomes almost threw an interception. It seemed. So
Yeah,
hey,
yeah. Do what we got to do, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I thought he did. No, no, he almost threw. He didn't throw one though. He didn't actually throw a pick.
he did not.
That's
No. Yeah,
yeah,
couple of close calls. But
that
both
accuracy.
both quarterbacks had a pretty decent game. So
like I said, Derek Carr looked like the Derek. I talk a lot of shit on Derek Carr,
And
and he
as you
looked like
should,
the
yeah.
Derek Carr that people think that he is. You know what I'm saying? He actually
Hmm.
looked like that last night. So, yeah, yeah, it was an exciting game for some good and some bad reasons. But it all made for drama, spectacle. Yeah, they did their thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, the only other thing I even had to call out, and I don't think I wrote it down here on the slides, is Darius Harris. Balled out. Great game yesterday. Him, Bolton, and Snead, they seem to just be the rocks of this defense right now, and I'm loving it. They're a lot of fun
Yeah,
to watch.
Bolton is right there.
Uh-huh.
Whenever the play's getting broken up, Bolton's right over there. My
Absolutely.
new favorite 32. We've upgraded at the position for number 32. I'm just
Absolutely.
kidding. Half kidding. He was talking a lot of noise, so
Oh man.
y'all know who we're talking about. Don't say his name because he'll come out on Twitter out of nowhere and tag you. Start talking.
You cannot acknowledge them. You have to keep it
Right.
away. Oh man. Yeah, that's all I really had left on the Raiders game. I don't know. Did you anything else?
No, no. It was y'all. I mean, we kept the receipts last week. I thought it was going to be way less close than it was, and I think that's exactly why it
How
was
did that
closer.
go? Yeah.
Yeah, what did I say? Like 40-7
You
or
said
something like
40 to
that.
7, absolutely.
Yeah, I was being disrespectful, and yeah, they shut me up
Well,
a
and
little
I
bit
mean,
on that.
hey, the funny thing is, like when we go visit them later this season, I if it was a 40 to 7 scoreline, I wouldn't be surprised. Because
Oh yeah,
it seems like whoever's the road team between us and the Raiders, the road team always outperforms expectations. Um,
yeah,
because what they're like the only team or uh of the past few years, like they're one of the only teams to take multiple wins off of us at Arrowhead, I believe. Um, I know it's a rivalry game, so it's always going to be a lot of fun. When we go visit them, we tend to and at least as memory serves, we tend to really put them in their place. So hey, make that 40 to 7 call again when we play them. What do we play them Christmas or something like that? Um,
let's
I'd
see.
I'd make that call
Like
again
the
for sure.
Christmas game, that would be interesting.
It'd be a good present for us to win on Christmas. That's all I ask. I'm gonna have to be up
Right.
in Wisconsin for Christmas, so I'm gonna need a good Chiefs win to get me through it.
So on Christmas they will be playing the Seahawks. We don't play
Seahawks.
the Raiders again until January 8th.
They're okay. So they're our last game of the season, which
Yeah,
always seems to be the case and is nice.
right. And we played Seahawks on Christmas Eve actually.
Christmas
So that'll
Eve.
be that'll be interesting. At Arrowhead. Huh. Okay.
Hey,
Uh,
if you're looking for a Christmas present, there you go.
your boy Gino. He,
Good old
he,
Geno
he was
Smith.
better than Russell Wilson.
Man, yeah. So let's talk about Russell Wilson, huh? Thursday night snoozeville is what I wrote down.
God,
I
God, man.
I remember last week talking about how this is a game I had zero interest in watching, and I am glad that I didn't. I just Man, I tuned. So what was it? Thursday, we had something going on. I'm trying to remember what it was, but we weren't around. Oh yeah, Kate and I went out and like a dinner date, um, to a fancy place and spent quite a lot of money. Um, but we were out doing that instead of watching Thursday night football. And honestly, I'm so happy. I come back home. It's like last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, and it's still 9-9. And I'm like, I picked the right day to skip watching football. Man,
Yeah, no. The most interesting thing about that game were the memes.
right? Oh, dude, like and I'm gonna totally misremember it, but there was some tweet out there that I'm gonna have to try to find and retweet it. Just somebody talking about like the actual breakdown of Russell Wilson's salary to the number of points he scored, and it's just the Broncos are paying a lot of money per point that he's getting them. Freaking hilarious. And
Yeah.
I mean, seeing this game, I'm still trying to figure out how we lost to the Colts. It's just.
Fourth, that goal line stand. They did it again. They did it again. They didn't learn their lesson. Russell has not learned his lesson from the Super Bowl. all these years ago, and to
Oh,
run the ball. It was so funny, Sherman,
yeah, yeah,
Richard
it is.
Sherman, losing his mind.
Run the damn
He was
ball.
having PTSD. Yes, man, PTSD from that.
Oh my God. Yeah, I saw that clip and I was laughing so hard. It was
Yeah.
poor guy. It looked like he was about to have a brain aneurysm on
That's what
live
someone said.
television.
Yeah, yeah. That dude was hot. He
Yeah,
was reliving it. He was
right.
reliving it.
Well, and have you also seen the play? I can't remember who the receiver is, but on his right, Russell Wilson had a receiver that was just as wide open as you
Wide
could
open. Yeah,
possibly
sling
get,
his helmet out.
and he didn't
Yeah,
even
he's
look.
yeah, that's the thing. It's not that like that's the thing. It's like you pay all this money for Russell Wilson, and yeah, it's a new system, new team. Maybe things need to take a little while before they really get going. But that's not something you expect someone of his caliber to miss a read like that. You know what I'm saying? That dude was right open.
Well, and we've all been talking about it. It's Broncos
Hamler,
are up.
KJ Hamler.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Broncos are now, if we're including this coming week, week six, Broncos are going to have something like four primetime games in 6 weeks. Is that right? Or three,
What?
3 and 6 or something like that. And I know a lot of the reason they got this is because they signed Russell Wilson in the offseason, and everyone's hyping it up like, oh my, if Russell Wilson's going to come in, he's going to challenge, Herbert, he's going to challenge Mahomes, it's going to be crazy. We're now going to hit like game four of them in prime time, and yet again, I'm sitting here thinking, do I want to watch this? Like, do I care? I know it's going to happen. Broncos are going to lose because they're awful, and it's because Russell Wilson can't play. I mean, I don't know if it's just him being a mile high or whatever, and not able, make things happen. It's just, it's. I understand why they can't flex Thursday games and Monday games. I wish they could because they need to be out of the spotlight. Like these guys need to be playing the 8 a.m. game at home. Yeah, who cares if they're in London?
Right.
Get them at the 8 a.m. slot when nobody's going to watch them because that's where they deserve to be right now.
It is so upsetting that we have to sit through yet another Broncos primetime game this season in close proximity as we've had. You know what I mean? All these games. Like they've been awful.
And I believe they have five total this year.
Yeah, like it's something. Yeah, I think it is five. I think you're right.
So,
Um,
man,
let me see.
it's
Yeah, one of
so
those has
bad.
to get flexed. One of those has to get flexed.
And it's the
Well, I think
Sunday
one of
night
them is
games.
us, isn't it?
Huh? I'm sorry?
Isn't one of them against us?
I'm sure it is. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Uh, how funny would it be if we lose a primetime game because of the Broncos? And I could 100%
Oh
see it
God.
happening. It's the Sunday night games only that can be flexed because it's NBC's contract that they have the right to flex those games. Um,
Right.
so it'll be on them. I'm sure they'll be thinking, oh yeah, everyone's going to want to tune in and watch Mahomes just run riot on them. Um,
Yeah.
and let's hope it
So
stays.
yeah, so they have this Monday night game against the Chargers. Then the next one they'll have is week 14 against us. If
And
that game isn't flexed out of Sunday night, according to I'm on Broncos Wire. Um, yeah, they're not happy over there. Broncos fans can see it.
so they're gonna
Um,
lick their tears up. Delicious.
right. They play in London, Jacksonville against the Jacksonville
Oh
Jaguars.
my
I will
God.
be sleeping for that.
I may
Yeah,
wake up just for that one. That sounds hilarious.
right. And then they have, oh God, Christmas Day. Listen to this. Nationally televised Christmas Day game. This is the 2:30 game or 3:30 on Central Time. Uh, Los Angeles Rams and the Denver Broncos. The Rams don't look good either.
They're almost
That
as
just sounds
embarrassing as the
terrible.
Broncos are. Yeah.
It just sounds awful.
Oh
Wow,
man. There have been
ruining
some
everyone's Christmas.
there honestly, there have been some bad primetime games and almost all of them are because the Broncos. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's going to be a tough one.
yeah,
Thank
yeah. That's
goodness.
that's rough. That's rough. And I'm enjoying it. Obviously, I do enjoy that they're
Oh,
mediocre
I love it.
because
Yeah.
yeah, I know most Chiefs fans the biggest rival is the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
They're a big rival for me too. But I know some obnoxious Broncos fans, especially during that Peyton Manning era.
Oh yeah,
Let me hear it every chance they got.
when they won the
But
Super
yeah,
Bowl. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna relish this a little bit. I'm gonna relish
Absolutely.
this. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that didn't exist the last time they beat us. And Stranger Things, with TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, the list is gonna keep going on and on.
I
The
love it.
iPhone 14.
Man, it's just it's what it was 2015 was the last time they beat us, right? September 2015. I
Yeah,
mean, shoot.
that's what right after Manning, and then I think that's when they went through like that Osweiler, that weird phase. They had a bunch of like just scrub quarterbacks.
Uh-huh. They had like Joe
Yeah,
Flacco for half a season, I think. And I'm man. Hey, I
yeah,
love seeing him suffer, so I'm not going to complain too much. I just don't want it in prime time
yeah.
anymore.
But they're making us suffer now. Yeah, yeah, they can suffer on a noon game that's not televised. I'm cool with that.
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah,
Other than Thursday night, one of the big points I had, Matt Rule is out as Carolina's coach.
yep. Getting
Um,
paid $800,000 to sit on the couch.
Man, that sounds
The
nice, doesn't it?
American dream.
Um, the first point I had is, can college coaches cut it in the pros? Do you think? Can somebody who is a head coach of a college team go straight to being a head coach of an NFL team and survive?
It's happened before, right?
But can you name the last person to even do it?
Oh,
Like, it's been so long, and I none even spring to my memory. Everyone who I think of, like, oh no, they were
it,
super successful in college and came and brought that to the pros. It's like, well, but they also came to the pros, and first they were, a defensive coordinator or a quarterbacks coach or something, and then they became, a head coach. So they spent some time in the league before becoming a head coach instead of making a
yeah.
straight jump. I mean, because like the
I, I
oh
guess Pete Carroll is the only one, right?
yeah, and even then, like, and obviously he has huge impact on it, but he had so much talent there that if he hadn't, that'd be even more embarrassing than like what Urban and Rule have done. But yeah, Carroll's probably the last one who made that straight jump from he was at USC, is that right? Straight from
Yeah,
USC to the Seahawks, and that happened 10 years ago or whatever. In the last decade, no one has made that successful jump. I think this is and it's hard to compare coaches to players and whatnot, but it's the same idea with like whenever somebody drafts a quarterback in round one and then instantly makes them their starter, and then 90% of the time they flame out. I feel like it's a very similar comparison here, where it's like there's just so much responsibility and what has to go on for a head coach that taking them straight from college to the pros is just not going to translate. So it'd be great to see him stop doing that. Hey, instead,
yeah.
there's a great guy named Flores over at the Steelers coaching their defense that any of these teams could hire if they would be so bothered. Or, our own parish here, enemy. He's been looking for a job for a while. Get those guys hired maybe. Don't hire. Don't bring in the ex-coach of Ohio State or the ex-coach of Clemson or whatever. Yeah, give one of these guys who have proven themselves in the NFL a chance, huh? How about that?
It would be. Seems like a no-brainer, right? They
Absolutely.
have a whole lot of brains going on over there.
No,
Yeah,
no, they do not.
Carolina needs to be eyeing the enemy right now.
Oh,
They need to be knocking down that man's door.
I mean, so do you risk? And this is just me speculating here. I think like the two obvious candidates are either Bieniemy or Brian Flores over in Seattle, or not Seattle Steelers. Um, with the team Carolina has, they have huge question marks around their offense, but their defense seems like it could, be pretty solid. I think you go with the proven defensive coordinator type coach there.
Yeah,
Win
yeah,
with that
that's good.
defense and build up an offense instead of going for the guy in Bieniemy who is the offensive mindset, and then be like, okay, well, here's a injury prone CMC. here are your two starting quarterbacks. You get to choose between Darnold and Baker Mayfield, and then oh yeah, we
Mm,
don't really have an offensive line, by the way. Yeah, try to win. I don't think
right.
even Bieniemy can turn that around. So if I'm the Carolina front office, I'm making a different call there personally.
What's
Also,
their record? Have they won a game? Let's see.
I think they've won one. Yeah, I think there's no winless teams left.
Right. Yeah, they did. They probably did win one. Which one was that? Looks like they won against the Saints. That's what
The
it was.
Saints.
Okay. Okay.
Other than
That is
rule,
definitely
yeah, right. I think this is
it.
it's a man. It's like, yeah, congratulations, you beat Jameis Winston.
Right. There
uh,
you go.
or other coaches in trouble though. Have you been hearing anything? Is there anyone that you would specifically call out?
I think. Well, I see you put it right here, and I definitely agree with you. Mike Tomlin's definitely in trouble. He's definitely in trouble. It's Steeler Nations, they're kind of losing their patience with it. I've been talking to some Steelers fans about it. He's been with that franchise a very long time, and they just look like the wheels are falling off, and they could probably, if they don't make a change soon, I think, if they don't turn around soon, we could be looking at like the end of the Mike Tomlin era.
Which is kind of
Definitely.
crazy to think about. The
Yeah.
Steelers, if nothing else, the Rooney family, that's who owns them, right? I can't remember. But their
Right. The
owners,
rules.
yeah, they've always shown huge amounts of loyalty to their coaches. I think the
Which is
Steelers as an organization have the lowest turnover in coaches. I they've had something like three in my lifetime, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's been three in our lifetime. I was
Yeah.
literally about to say that. Yeah, like
Um. So
yeah,
I think knowing that and knowing who their ownership is, I don't see them getting rid of Tomlin because of one bad season, especially since they're transitioning off of a guy who's been their quarterback for the same number of years that Tomlin's been coaching there pretty much. Um,
yeah.
I Whether or not it's the right decision, I see them sticking with Tomlin, and I kind of hope they do. Give them a chance to both transition away from Trubisky officially, give Pickens his chance to get in there and start playing, or prove himself to not be the quarterback that they need, and give him one more year. Give him the rest of this season, half of next season. If things aren't turning around, absolutely fire him at that point in time. I think it's just too early to get rid of a guy who is like how many times have they even missed the playoffs under his reign, you know?
I was gonna say yeah. I mean they've been to the playoffs the last couple years,
Mhm.
despite not being very. Because we've been saying this for a while that they're like the Steelers have been falling off. So
Mhm.
they made the playoffs in 2021. They lost in the wild card. They made them in 2020. They missed them in 2018 and 2019,
Mm.
but since then it's a pretty sizable gap since their missed playoff appearances versus their actual appearances. They haven't won a lot in the last few years,
Mhm.
but they have shown up. So that is something to maybe think about. Their success rate in the playoffs recently, that's probably going to be factored in. Um, yeah, it's been, I would say, well, 2020 was a good year for them. They were 12-4, and they were 9-7-1 in 2021. They're 1-4 right now. Uh, yeah, it's I mean, we'll see how they finish. If they miss the playoffs this year, I personally think probably maybe the end. You're saying they might give them another shot. What they need to do, like you saying with the quarterback issue, because here's what's going to happen. I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen. This little secret, this insider information
Insider info.
that I just got just pulled out my ass. Right. Um, Dak Prescott is not long for the Dallas Cowboys.
Not with the way
They need
Rush
to
is
go
playing,
after
yeah.
that. Yeah, they
Man.
need to go after that man as soon as he's available. They need to knock down his door,
Oh, that'd be
and
nutty. I like
that's
that.
what's going to happen. That's
I
what's going to happen.
I like is that a keep the receipts? Do we put that in there or is this just
Let's do it.
let's
No,
do
we
it?
can
All
keep the
right.
receipts on that. I think Dak and Zeke, the 2-1-4 era, as they call it. I think that's over with.
Ends up in Steelers color. Wait, you think by the end of this season or next season?
this season. I
this
think they go
season.
for Prescott.
I love it.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
That'd be fun.
Um,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
yeah, they need to definitely address the quarterback situation. That's their priority number one, I think.
honestly. I think they really didn't help themselves by making it a quarterback competition over the summer, and into preseason and even leading up to the first game of the season where nobody knew what was going to happen. The questions were, I mean, even beginning halfway through that first game of the season, it's like, when are you taking Trubisky out? When are you putting in, your backup here? I just feel like that kills the confidence of both players. So maybe that could have been
Yep.
handled a little bit better. The buck with that kind of stops at the head coach. So, is that a Tomlin issue? I don't know. It while I would like for them to let Tomlin stay throughout the season, if it was to pop up right now on my phone saying he's been fired, I probably wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
Honestly, I would just like to see them continue it. So, you know,
he'd probably bounce back on his feet real quick. But yeah, I mean, they gotta make something happen
hmm
between now and end of the season. But what that move is remains to be seen.
we'll see it. Well, you brought up Dak Prescott and the lovely Cowboys. Are you getting closer and closer to being ready to say that the East is actually good?
I think they are good. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that now. I think you see the Giants. They're 4-1 now. They snuck a win against Green Bay. The Cowboys are now 4-1. The Eagles are 5-0. The Eagles, I think, are legit. I do think they're legit. They've got a pretty good, decent offense. Cowboys have a really solid defense right now. They have the best. I'd say the best defense in the league. They have
I would
the
agree. Yeah.
lowest touchdown scored against them right now. Um, yeah, so the NFC East. I mean, it was bound to happen at some point. They're bouncing back. They're looking like what we thought the AFC West was going to look like, except for the
Right.
Commanders. The Commanders are still trash.
There's still that. And did you see the whole thing with Riviera afterwards, where he's like, what's the difference between all the NFC East teams and the Commanders? And he just like didn't even hesitate and said quarterback.
Straight up,
Just
man, and that got me, man. Because dude, Carson Wentz, man.
I mean,
How far has he
yeah,
fallen, man?
he
Golly,
is.
remember he was he a number one draft pick? He
Yeah,
was
I
first
believe
rounder.
so. Or he was, like top five or something. I can't remember
Yeah,
when he got picked, but he did great with the Eagles. Didn't do so good with the Colts, but I think that was an offensive line issue more than it was a Carson Wentz issue. And then maybe it was a Carson Wentz issue, seeing how the Commanders are doing. Riviera has since kind
but
of walked it back a little bit. I think he realized, you know,
yeah,
smack talking your starting quarterback to the media was probably
it's
a
not a good
bad
look.
decision.
Not a good look. Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah,
he was the number one. He was the number two draft pick in
number two.
2016. Yeah,
Because
but
number one was
number one was Jared Goff. Yeah, it was that
Jared Goff.
Winston.
That's right.
Yeah, who I guess he kind of gets flack now too. It's funny how those two were both like the top guys that year, and now we're kind of like, Jared
Yeah,
Goff.
yeah.
He's been kind of doing his thing this year too. He's kind of doing
Until
his
this
thing.
week, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, yeah. To talk about that, the Detroit Lions were the number one scoring offense going into this week, and then put up a goose egg.
Man,
And who did they play again? Let me see if I can pull this up. Because I am prepared as all get out here.
this is what we do here.
They played against New England, who, okay, New England historically just great defenses, and this year have proved to have a good defense. I'm sorry, when you're playing against a third string quarterback, though, let's put up more than a goose egg, maybe. Uh, Sucks to see, especially sucks since I was kind of leaning on their tight end, putting out for me in fantasy. Uh, I think this is more of an anomaly than, Lions coming back to earth. I do think the Lions offense is really good. They've proven it through the first 4 weeks. So,
Yeah, they're solid.
everyone can have an off game. I don't think that the number one scoring offense in the league goes in and puts up a goose egg and, you can just say, oh, well, they're back to normal now. No, it's an off game. And then next week we'll see them play. And I think they'll do just fine, probably. Like you said, Goff, he's been catching flack, understandably. Didn't really do much with the Rams at all. Goes to Detroit last year. Didn't really do anything with them then either. This year, they're balling out. So see what happens. I mean, they probably won't even make the probably won't even make the playoffs, let alone um, win the Super Bowl. But they're still fun to watch right now.
They're
So.
fun to watch. I could see them maybe sneaking in as a wild card.
Mm,
I don't. Yeah, I definitely don't see a deep run. Like not with that defense. Like they're
no,
just having too many points scored on them. Like the Eagles would feast on them.
absolutely.
Um, but yeah, they're still fun to watch. And you know, I want to say shout out to Savion Smith. That did you
Mm.
see that injury?
I didn't. I heard all about it, and hearing
Ooh, it
about it
was
was
scary.
enough. Yeah. I
Yeah, it was
mean,
scary.
yeah, like you said, shout out and thoughts with
Yeah, but
him.
he is okay. Test reveals that there is no neck damage. That's courtesy
Excellent.
of uh, prideofdetroit.com. It's the SB Nation Detroit Lions website. But yeah. So he did have movement in his extremities a little bit later on that day. And yeah, so test real no neck damage. So he's probably in the concussion protocol moving forward. Yeah, so that was a scary thing to watch. I'm glad he's all right with that. You hate to see injuries like that. There were a lot of injuries this week. I feel like like a lot of on-field injuries. Miami is now down to their seventh round quarter. Yeah, their third string seventh round rookie quarterback, Skylar Thompson
I just I
from
want
Kansas State.
I want to ask Tyreek Hill if he's feeling good about his decision right now.
Exactly.
I mean, he can't control injuries, of course, but man, they went from balling out this year with Tua to just disaster.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm not laughing at their injuries, but it's kind of funny. But yeah, not their injuries at all. Like not laughing at that,
No.
but Tyreek Hill. I'm laughing at
Right.
Tyreek.
Hey, you got a guy for
Yeah,
it. Kansas followed you to Miami, and now you got a quarterback from Kansas thrown to you.
yeah.
And we are
Talking
here.
all that noise, boy. He's talking all that noise.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh man.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I did want to talk about, I don't know if you've seen this thing, but it's just absolutely hilarious. The New York Giants punter, so the Giants and Packers played Sunday in London. The Giants punter is still stuck in England because he's dealing with passport
What?
issues. Yeah, so he's
No.
he's actually a Scottish native, right? He's actually from
Got you.
Scotland, so he's not American. Came over to the U.S. as a teenager and started playing football for the first time in high school. So, classic case of somebody from a soccer centric country. And yeah, it turns out they're great at kicking a football, right? Um, but yeah, apparently came over on a work visa with his dad because his dad was a part of NATO. And it just never became any form of like a permanent citizen or permanent resident. So at this moment, he can't get back to the U.S.
That's wild. That's an underrated story. I didn't know.
I
I didn't know
you
that was
think like the
happening.
first thing you would check when you're getting a player from point A to point B is can he come back from point B to point A, and it's just man,
Wow.
you know
That is man. That's
that's
funny.
that's my
I hope,
story of
he,
the
I hope he
week.
gets back. I hope he gets back. But damn, what are they going to do if he doesn't?
They haven't even
They
worked
got to
out a
find it.
punter apparently. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Tuesday. They don't play till Sunday, and it's not like you need to work out your
Right,
punter
right,
every
right,
single
right.
day. But man, it's I'm just now picturing a Justin Reed esque situation where they pull in like a defensive lineman to be their punter on Sunday because their other guy's still stuck back in England.
Right.
Oh
Um. So did kind of going back to Miami real quick.
yeah,
So Miami and in New England, they're both down to the third string quarterbacks right now.
yes,
Yeah. So it's. I mean, that's a good. I mean, we could definitely talk about our boys. the Jets right now. That's I
Oh,
mean they're
can we
gonna
please?
it's yeah yeah our Cinderella team I guess or
You know what? I don't even know
what
if
do
you
you
can.
call it?
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, yeah, Cinderella. Diamond in the rough here. 40-17 against the Dolphins. I,
Yes.
I mean, Brees Hall, dude. Both of us were talking about how much we were into him. Coming into this year. Um,
Ball.
he is. He's showing up for us. He's helping us. He's helping us back up our bowl. So I love
Him and
that.
my boy Zach
Zach
Wilson.
Wilson, your hero.
They're balling. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He's
Uh,
doing good. He's tossing over 200 yards. So
yeah. Definitely a two-horse race over there in the AFC East. I'll definitely be. Dang, they don't play till November 6th, but Bills Jets that should be fun.
God, I
They play November 6th and then again on December 11th.
I just
Both noon games.
if the Jets actually pull off winning the NFC East, I'm gonna die. It's
I would
just
love it. Oh my God.
man, that would be the funniest thing to ever happen to me. That's for sure. Um,
Wow.
man. Yeah,
Yeah, we need this one to happen.
I need this.
That's
Yeah,
week 11. That's week 11. So,
I'm
nah,
looking forward
that
to it.
who's the prime time? Let me see. Steelers, Bengals, flex that.
Flex
Put,
that.
put the
Get that out
Jets,
of here.
put
Jets
the Jets and the
Dolphins
Bills. Yes,
or Jets Bills. Yeah, Jets Bills.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jets, Bills.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Please and thank
but
you. Yeah, it's Brees Hall is just I mean playing lights out, and him and Zach Wilson seem to be building that chemistry, and then the rest of the receiving core, they're lagging behind a little bit, but they'll get there. I haven't been able to watch a game yet. I keep wanting to, and I haven't been able to because it just hasn't been broadcast around here. I can't wait till I can watch one.
no, I definitely caught him on Red Zone this week. Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And again, like I said, the Dolphins' woes made it kind of entertaining as well. So,
Yeah, it's
but
it's nutty out there.
right. Um, any other games? I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, so like I said, the Rams did watch the Rams Cowboys. Their defense look, Cowboys defense looks good. The Rams do not look like the Rams and the Bengals, man. They look like they stole
How did we let
the
these
Super.
teams? Yeah, how did we let these teams
Yeah,
be the Super Bowl? I mean,
I I have no idea who did the Rams play to get there. I'm trying. Let me pull that up
what?
real quick.
I mean, it does. I don't know if they should all be hanging their heads in shame, just like we should all be hanging our heads in shame of letting the Bengals get there. That's for sure. I'm trying to think now. Who was it that the Rams beat to get into the Super Bowl? It wasn't the Packers, was it?
No, it was the Niners.
Oh, jeez,
Yeah, it was the Niners. So
man.
20-17 that game was. So I remember that game. I just don't remember like the details. But yeah, yeah, they snuck in.
Just
I feel like they stole the Super Bowl.
yeah.
They
That's
beat the Bucks before that. No, I'm sorry. The Ram. Yeah, the Rams beat the Bucks. Yeah,
yeah.
they beat the Bucks in the divisional round and faced the
The Niners and the
Niners in the conference championship. Yeah. Then wow. Yeah.
jeez, they
I
got
know
away
we
with
gave it
murder there.
away. Yeah, I know we gave it away because we were up in that Bengals game and we threw it
Yeah.
away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
No, I mean, we
wow.
didn't deserve to win that game, unfortunately. So,
No.
um, gosh, other games this week. I mean, I no, looking at everything, like it just all seemed like the rest of it was all right. Yeah, everything ended the way we would expect. Tennessee beat the Commanders, Tampa beat the Falcons, Philly barely beat the Cardinals, which is a little surprising, but. I know some of that Kyler Murray smack talk has started to resurface again now that he's not quite delivering, this season. He just got hyped up so much.
He's gonna
Um,
face that all year. He's gonna face
yeah,
that all year. It's unfortunate this whole thing about his contract and watching film became such a story, but because of that, yeah, man, he's gonna and he got the bag, man. He got paid.
he
Like he
got
got the absolute
paid.
bag.
Yeah,
So yeah, just like Russell, just like anybody gets paid, you gotta perform.
and
You
he's
gotta
not doing
perform,
it.
otherwise you're gonna hear it. Yeah, he's not right now. It's not like I think maybe it was last season. Definitely last season actually, and then maybe a little bit early in this season. I was telling Hong, I was like, the Cardinals is an interesting team to watch, but they're not really living up to that. Like recently they
Uh-huh.
were on paper, they looked like they were going to do something, but no, it definitely don't look like that this year.
Well, I wouldn't say they were great against us, but they did pretty good week one against us. And then they had that game against the Raiders, which was just one of the most, again, hilarious endings for a Raiders game where they beat them in overtime off of a ridiculous interception. Um, and it seems like, okay, maybe they are something. Maybe they'll be there. They're just going through, the early season, figure it out. And since then, it's just been like, yeah, almost any team could beat these guys, I feel. Um, I you're saying like NFC least has become an NFC beast almost.
Yeah,
The East are out there doing great, while the AFC West has kind of fallen flat on our face. Not at
AFC
the
West.
expense of the Chiefs or whatever. But it's not like the NFC West is doing much better either. It seems
Uh,
right. Um, it's like
yeah,
I felt like the AFC and NFC West were kind of like felt to be the predictive, best divisions respectively, and
sure.
I think the only team out of the eight across those two divisions you are even afraid of right now is the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was gonna say no one in the NFC West for sure. No one out of the NFC West. I was saying the AFC West. I think it's a two-man race right now because I think what the Chargers they're still gonna be kind of they're gonna Charger. I think they'll fall flat at the end of the year like they always do, but it's still worth noting. They are 3-2 right now. They snuck that win out of Cleveland.
Mm.
Um, they'll probably still be in the conversation. There's one thing I do want to bring up because there was a discussion so far into the league about the lack of solid running back play, but I think running back stepped it up this week across the board.
I can get with
Uh,
that.
yeah, like Eckler, like you said, Brees Hall, Derrick Henry was returning to form a little bit.
Josh Jacobs
Um,
did great.
Josh Jacobs, ball, yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, the running backs are starting to look like running backs again. So,
And it's the ones you expect to be good too.
right.
Barkley's even out there doing well. It's the
Barkley,
names, yeah, that you really expect to be performing, and they have started to perform after a pretty weak start to the season. Um, yeah, and I don't know if we're back to questioning the Chiefs, running back game. It's not great, but it wasn't bad, and we did fine. McKinnon really stepped up as that, a third stringer, almost second string, third, however, the typical running back by committee where you never know which one's going to get their number called up in any given game.
right.
It's
Who's
fine.
going to have that night?
hmm and
Yeah,
then the Texans, don't they have a rookie running back that's just freaking slaying it right now? He's like doing really
do
good.
they?
I can't even read. It's
Texans.
like
Actually, yeah,
Damian.
I think no,
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Damian
I
Pierce, is
think
that his name, or am I pulling that out of nowhere? I can't remember.
Damian Pierce. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Damian Pierce.
he seems to be doing good. He's not going to be offensive player of the year or anything like that, but for a rookie on the Texans to be balling out like he is, yeah, maybe running's back. That made me very happy.
Hey, I mean, if you make the Texans look like a halfway decent team, then that's a lot right there. You're
You're working
carrying a lot of it
miracles.
back there. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
you're working working miracles right there. Um, yeah, but yeah, week 5, I think we can call it a wrap on that. And we jump
Absolutely.
into week 6.
Do a quick overview. Chiefs versus Bills. Without a doubt, to me,
So
the most
excited.
anticipated game so far this season for the Chiefs. Do we go so far as to
Absolutely.
say most anticipated game of the season for the entire league, or is that maybe a little ambitious?
I think we have two this week. I think that one for
That one,
sure.
and
Yeah.
then
I
Cowboys
think
Eagles, right?
I think yeah, both of those. Like I think they and I think those are this is gonna be a very exciting week for the NFL because
Yeah,
yeah, the NFC East still has like a very large fan base that travels very well. I don't know if you watched any of the Cardinals Eagles game or the Cowboys Rams game, but they might you neither one of those teams they played. So Eagles played at Cardinals, Cowboys played at Rams. you really couldn't call those home games.
It
You
was,
had hella Eagles fans in there in the Arizona, and you had a ton of Cowboys fans in California.
I love
Like,
that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
very well traveling fan bases, very large fan bases, and they're both doing very well this year. I think that's going to be a highly anticipated game for the NFC
Yeah,
overall. And our game, absolutely, very highly anticipated game for the AFC. With obviously the top two quarterbacks right now in the league, facing off with once again. And man, whew, uh, what's his name? Josh Allen. There's some bombs, man. There's some
yeah.
bombs in that game, man. I was like, God damn, this man is good. I was
This
just like,
this is going to be a case of can Mahomes outdo the Bills' excellent defense enough to make up for what will likely be an abuse of our secondary by
torch,
Josh Allen. Uh,
torch of secondary. Because look at what Derek Carr did to it.
right. Yeah.
That's Derek Carr. I still don't think he's good. I'm sorry.
No.
I think he's an average quarterback. At best, he's an average quarterback.
Now
And he looked
I will say the Bills don't have an equivalent to Devante Adams, so does that balance it a little bit? Maybe.
you want
Probably
to put
not enough.
Stephon Diggs in that conversation?
I just think Adams is. I'm not saying Diggs is bad. I'm saying Adams is just that much better. You know.
Okay.
Um. No, I
Well
mean
then no.
it's entirely possible. That Diggs just destroys us. We'll
He
see.
doesn't like us very much. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
He really does, doesn't he? Man, especially after last year and what we did to them. That
Yeah.
last, oh man, yeah, it's going to be a fun game. I'm super excited for it. My dad's coming over in theory to watch it with us. The crappy thing is, this is the funny thing for me. If we were watching this alone, this wouldn't be an issue. But the KC Current, the women's soccer team here, which is part owned by Brittany Matthews, their
Yes.
first playoff game in franchise history happens at 4 o'clock. So
Mm.
right as in the middle of this game going on. So assuming my dad's coming over, we're gonna have the Currents game open on our laptop. But man, it's
So you got to pull them both out. Yeah, you
we're
couldn't
gonna
miss this.
we're gonna be watching both of it. So good luck to Brittany Matthews' team there. But man, yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Going to have dual screen going on, so of course I'm sure every single good play that the Chiefs pull off will be when I'm not watching it, and vice versa for the Current, because that's how it always goes for me. But you know, definitely be following
Yeah,
my Twitter because I'm sure I'll be tweeting about both games very aggressively,
that would be interesting. It'd just be so back and forth.
back and forth, man. It's going to be great. I'm really
Just
excited.
a
Yeah.
roller coaster of emotions.
Oh,
That'll
it's
be.
it's going to be tough. Yeah, I'm telling you. Um, I do hope that, like both games go really well. I'm so excited for the Chiefs versus the Bills. I don't, I mean, this might be our game of the season.
It will be. It will be.
It'll
Yeah, it's
be,
going to be the biggest game of the season. I remember. I think earlier on, this was the only game that I said could be a potential loss. Like just objectively. Like I know
yeah.
I didn't think so. When I say that, it's not like I thought we would go undefeated by any
hmm
means. But like just looking at the schedule, I did think they were the main threat. Like
This,
anyone else, not so much.
if we had to give a loss to the Chiefs, this is the game that we give the loss to, kind of thing.
Right, right.
Absolutely.
Which, spoiler alert, I'm not going to this week, actually. Um,
Yeah. Do we start putting out the production here? The predictions. So obviously, since Hung's not here and able to say anything, we're going to say she's calling the Bills 60-0. That's her
oh my gosh,
prediction. We're doing
we
that
come
one.
through and destroy us. Woman is cheaped out all the time. You find
She's
us.
gonna run to my house and kick my butt
Yeah,
all the way from me.
yeah.
So you're calling the Chiefs. What's your prediction here?
Man. Yeah, if we're doing predictions, I'm gonna go something real conservative. I'm gonna say like 24 to 20 or something like that.
24 to
Like we're
20.
gonna, and it's gonna be up to our defense getting like just a turnover that they weren't supposed to. I think our line's gonna play well. I think our linebackers are gonna play well. I need that secondary to make some plays. Um, Play a little bit better than they did against the Raiders here. And yeah, we just I need Mahomes, the offensive side of the ball. Just need them boys to do their thing.
I'm
I don't want the team to, when it comes down to it, I don't want us to have to rely on the defense to save the game like they did last week. This has
no.
got to be Mahomes. This has got to be a Mahomes like magic game for sure.
Yeah. Let's stop with the drop passes. Let's stop with, some of those weak plays that we keep seeing. Stop all that, and I agree. Mahomes has to win this game.
Yeah,
And for that reason, I'm going 45-38.
45-38. Okay, so yeah, you think it's gonna be straight up shootout?
I think it's just going to be a straight up shootout. I think our offense can overcome their very skilled defense. Their offense will probably outplay our secondary. So you know, let's just say the punters are not going to leave the bench. They're gonna have a very boring Sunday because
Yeah,
it's going to be scores left and right.
yeah, absolutely.
In my
Yeah,
opinion,
so
could be
yeah,
totally wrong.
no, it's good. And then Hong, I said you're saying it's gonna be 60-0 Chiefs. So don't kill me. Go for Billy.
Timestamp that one. 1 hour 20 minutes into the stream. That way you know where to refer it to when she comes for you.
Right. Yeah, and I'm looking at this list. Another Thursday night boring game.
It's
Dude,
Commanders. Oh, I don't even care after that.
it's
Who is
Commanders Bears. Yeah,
Commanders
Commanders
Bears?
Bears.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why they thought
I'm
that was a
gonna
good
be
idea.
doing anything but watching football that night. I'm sure. I
There
just.
you go. The Bears. Here's the highlight. The Bears are gonna wear those all orange sherbet uniforms. There you
Oh,
go.
okay. Well, then I'll tune in for
Yeah.
a few minutes to check those out.
Yeah, all orange. Yep. So that's
I
that's the highlight for
they
that.
these two teams have less wins combined than the Chiefs do. That's all I need to see to know I don't care about this game.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the
Really.
Bears are working towards something there as an organization, but they're still a little bit ways off. Fields can be a good quarterback, a great quarterback. He just hasn't been. Um, and then yeah, I mean the Commanders. Until they change their name, I think the Commanders are just going to be cursed because it's just
I don't want them to change it anymore. Just stick to it. Just make it a thing. Just
go back to
I don't know. I
Washington
don't.
football team, guys. Come
I,
on.
you know
I
what?
love
That
that.
grew on me. That grew on me. Yeah, because
Yeah.
at first I heard it, I was like, that sounds ridiculous. But after a while, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, it's all
I
right.
mess with it. I fuck with it. Like, it's different. It's
Hmm.
different. But yeah, Commanders sounds like a generic team you create on Madden. Like that's how it sounds. Like it
Right.
just doesn't strike fear. Doesn't make me excited to uh catch a
Tune in.
Commanders game.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Um,
nope, that's gonna be trash. And then, like you said, Broncos, another primetime game
yeah.
against the Chargers. The only thing that'll make that interesting is if they beat the Chargers. I would love that.
You know,
like Russell Wilson has like a bounce back game.
uh,
Let this be it. I would
for
love that.
for me, it'll be one of those like hate watch things where I'm watching it just because I do kind of want them to beat the Chargers. Yeah, like you're saying, this is when I want them to come back and do it. I'll probably watch this one more excitedly than I'll ever watch this Thursday night game. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a hoot though. Either they're going to get blown out of the water and Herbert's just going to like have a career day, or it's going to be a trap game and the Broncos somehow squeeze out a win. And
Right.
I mean, yeah, if you're on DraftKings making a lineup for that night, be sure to draft kickers and defense because I bet that'll be your highest scores yet again in a Broncos
Oh
game.
yeah. Yeah.
We already
Yeah.
talked
Moving
about
on.
Eagles Dallas.
Yeah, we did. I'll ask you for that. We kind of covered that, but is this? Do you see either of these teams? I don't really see Dallas. And you can tell me you feel differently, but the Eagles? They gonna be in the Super Bowl? You
No,
think that's gonna happen?
no,
You don't think so?
no.
Okay, all right, interesting.
Um, I think it goes back to what our frequent contributor RMR in our Discord was saying is that like neither Hertz hasn't proven himself with like a playoff victory. I think when it comes to a game where their season is on the line, the Eagles won't perform, or maybe they'll win, one playoff game or something like that. I can't see them going deep, unlike some of their other NFC competition probably will. Right now, if you're gun to head forcing me to pick who's going to be the NFC representative in the Super Bowl, I hate to say it, probably the Packers, because
Oh,
they just win those games that they need to win. I mean,
yeah.
I think if you lose a game in London, you chalk that up mostly to you had to go to London to play a game, versus it, being a representation of how your season is. So, you flip that one a little bit. Suddenly they're 4-1 and the Packers are doing well. It's hard to write off Aaron Rodgers as much as I would love to. Uh, I don't see like Hertz and company competing to that level just yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got guys on that team that's been there before, and they could help him with that.
Hmm.
I would say with the Packers, I don't know, man. Like they had that close one with the Patriots that went to overtime last week.
Hmm.
I'm not sold on
Not
Packers right
sold.
now. I feel like yeah, and then it's all kind of hearsay about like just Aaron Rodgers and
Just a prissy little baby that
just
nobody
being a
wants to
terrible
be around.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
it's awful that such football talent is and such an awful human being. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that game. Jets, Green Bay. Let's
Jets win this one
definitely,
20 points easily.
yep,
Calling it.
baby. Brees Hall, baby.
Brees Hall.
Brees Hall. Let's
Absolutely.
get it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, I think that I hope that game is broadcast in my area. Knowing the large contingent of Packers fans Kansas City strangely
right.
has, I could see it being that case. So I hope I'll be
Yeah.
watching it. But if not, let's go Jets. Jets, Jets, Jets,
Yeah.
Jets, or whatever the
I
cheer is.
yeah, I'm looking at the schedule right now. I feel like they'll probably show it for us at least down here, Jets Packers, because they're not going to show Falcons Niners. They're not going to show. I don't think they're going to show any of these other games.
Jacksonville,
Like
Indy. Man,
no,
that's
no,
just
yeah,
that's a game I'll never watch.
right. They'll probably show Bucks Steelers. They'll probably show Bucks Steelers and Jets Packers. I think
Hmm.
those are the two games they'll end up showing.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Um,
that'll
and
be a
then of
game.
course, yeah, like you said, the NFC West is just not looking exciting. So I have no interest in Cardinals Seahawks. I have no interest in Rams Panthers. That's a AFC South NFC West matchup.
Hmm.
I do have some interest in Vikings Dolphins just because like I don't know. There's
I
just some intrigue there. What are they gonna do with this third string guy from K State?
Well, and like the Vikings are playing pretty well this year. They're four and
They are,
one,
yeah.
which absolutely means they're going to lose to Miami.
I I usually pick them. I
Yeah.
usually pick them to like go have a deep run, and they never do.
Their
Um,
biggest problem is that they do show up. They look really good every season. So the NFL and broadcasters give them primetime games, and Kirk Cousins, for whatever reason, cannot win in primetime. His
no, he can't.
record in prime time is disgusting. It's
It's sad.
so
Yeah,
bad. So the fact that this is a noon game probably does mean the Vikings do win this. It's just so funny to be that like the second you put them in a prime time slot, you can already mark the loss column on the Vikings.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's 2-10 in prime time.
Just
2-10.
the dude's an elite quarterback. He's good. He's not
Yeah,
top five or anything, but he's good. And the fact that he just cannot close it out, you know?
not figured it out in prime time.
Right. Uh,
That's funny.
Well, bad news for you, Kirk Cousins. Super Bowl counts as prime time, so you know,
Right.
man.
Yeah, and I think that's really it as far as the games coming up that
Yeah,
look interesting. Again, of course, ours is going to be just that's the game to watch. I am going to be posted up somewhere, probably hungover from the wedding I'm going to the day before,
heck yeah.
and just watching Bills Chiefs, and then hopefully we get the dub there, and then what's Sunday night football. I'm excited.
Sunday
This is
night.
where
I
the
did
fun begins.
did we talk about who you think will win between Philly and Dallas? Because I think that'd be a good. Yeah, I just want to hear who you think will win.
I think the Eagles are for real. So
Okay.
I think the Eagles are going to take this. I think Dallas is. I think it's going to be a solid game. Dallas has a really good defense. But I believe in the Eagles right now. I believe in the Eagles. They're 5-0. This could be the game they lose just because it's like it's a rivalry game. They're undefeated. They're bound to lose at some point this year. This would be a very likely option for that to happen, but it's in Philly
It's in
too. That's the
Philly,
other
yeah,
thing.
is what I
Yeah,
was
it's
about
in
to say.
Philly, so I know that crowd's gonna be rocking. Yeah, I like the Eagles in this.
And I'm going contrary. I want to see Dallas get in there and win
Okay,
it. Um,
okay.
I not because I think Dallas is the better team. I just I don't know. I think their defense will make up that skill gap. I think we'll see at least
Best
one.
defense in the league.
Yeah, I think we'll see at least one pick six out of this game too. I think they're going to be harassing Jalen Hurts too much, and he's not going to be able to play. So,
Absolutely.
all right,
Um, yeah, but yeah, week 6 inbound. Anything else on our Kansas City Chiefs?
nothing. Honestly, like we don't even have any injury news to really talk about.
Thank
Wait,
goodness.
Gay's back, right?
Oh, does he? Did,
I
did he
think
come back
he
to
had
this game? I think it's after.
was it a 4 game suspension? When did he get suspended? Was it week
Oh, it's
three?
6 games.
Oh,
Yeah, let
is
me
it six?
see.
You know what? All right, there we go. Perfect. On top of my Chiefs news here, is it a
Well,
six
no,
game
you might. Yeah, well, I don't. Yeah, You're right. He's suspended 4 games. So
Okay.
yeah, he was suspended 4 games. He played in the first one. So yeah, he is eligible to return on August 17th, following his team's Week 6 game. Following his team
Following
Week
the
6
week
game
six
against
game.
the
Okay,
Bills. So he will miss this game.
that's
He will
right.
be the next week.
I think
Yeah,
we did
yeah.
talk about that. So
Yeah. So no Willie Gay on this one. No Willie Gay. But RD, they can do without him. They can do. It'll be nice. It will be nice to have him back. It'll be really nice to have him back.
hmm
But our boys been
they're
they've been
doing all
doing all
right.
right.
Doing all
They've
right.
been doing all right. Yeah, like I said, they got to come with it against that. They can't play the same in that backfield, the secondary.
No,
Um,
that needs to get
against
better.
yeah. So yeah, they got to key that in. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Um, I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun week of football.
Can't wait. All right, we wrapping this up then?
Let's get it. You want to let them know where to find you?
Absolutely. Twitter's the best place at Chef Doobles, ChefDoobles. Yeah, definitely tune in this weekend for me to be live tweeting the KC current game and forgetting the Chiefs are playing.
That'll be.
uh,
I'm definitely gonna be keyed on your Twitter because that'll be so fun.
Yeah, learning all about it. No, it's yeah, I'm looking forward. So follow me there. I'll occasionally stream video games. Haven't been doing it too much lately. Just been so busy. But you can find me on Twitch for that, or within my Twitter bio, I have the link to my YouTube page there too. So feel free to throw down a subscription there. And then what about you?
Cool. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Almighty Raw. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, the Almighty Raw. You can find me the show's podcast Twitter page on SOT Kingdom KC. So at SOT Kingdom KC on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube, State of the Kingdom. Please hit us, give us a like,
Yeah,
subscribe,
shout out to our
jump in
new
the comments.
followers this week, and
We're moving on
we're
up
moving on
in the
up.
world. We appreciate all 6 of y'all.
Absolutely.
Do you want anything from the gas station? There's an audio. It's like to the 12 people always liking my post. Y'all want anything from the gas station? Yeah, so that's how it feels.
I
We're
love
a
that.
small, tight knit community here for
Absolutely.
now until we blow up and forget all about y'all. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But anyway, yes, please, thank you so much for subscribing. Those who have, if you haven't yet, please join us. We'd love to have you
It's
join our
free.
Discord. Yep, it's free. We've got the link to the Discord, I believe, on the page. If not, we can link it. But just hit us up on Twitter. We can send it to you as well. But yeah, we are excited to have you. We're excited to talk about our Kansas City Chiefs, and we will be excited to continue to do more next week.
Go
Can't
Chiefs.
wait. Go Chiefs. Everyone